Yo, what's going on, guys? Going to be going over today's price action and is the trade that I ended up taking today. I ended up taking two trades today and ended up getting break even on both of those trades. So let's go over them and go over why I ended up taking them. So coming into the day overall, if you want to go back, was leaning pretty bearish. Honestly, short term definitely leaning bearish. Higher time frame also leaning bearish. Monumentally, or not monumentally, momentarily. There you go. There's the word. Momentarily, anyway, to previous week low, which I have marked in down here, as you can see. We have previous week low, which is also a weekly fair value gap as well. And with all-time high conditions, we are actively displacing through these bearish PD arrays. Our bullish PD arrays keeping us going higher. So at minimum, I was expecting us to come down to previous week low. Cool. So what was I looking for in market open? This is not market open. Definitely is not market open. This is though. What I was looking for on market open was pretty simple. I was looking for us to open higher here and manipulate out potentially this low. Sorry, this high here inside of this gap, which was also a 30-minute fair value gap, and I think it was also an hourly fair value gap as well. Overall, we did have another gap as well, which I wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad, which was this 15-minute gap, which is technically sponsored, but I would have liked a better retrace considering how high the volume is within here. I would have liked to see us come up either to this first 30-minute or this second one above up here. That's kind of what I was looking at coming in today, and that was like my thought process on what I want to see. Obviously, just with the market structure and the higher time frame bias showing us that we want to go down to previous week low, was also the other factor, of course. So coming into market open, the market ends up ripping higher here, coming into this really premium 30-minute fair value gap within this leg of price. And what we also notice here on the volume profile chart, we can see that I have it marked out from all the way here. Anyway, is that we had a really low volume node right here. So this was a really good sign and a really good area for us to reject off. We also wicked off 0.79 of this range while being inside of this key level. So this is like the final, low-key, one of the best areas for us, or the final area you'd want to see us go to. If we started displacing through this level, we could definitely just see price higher. But we did end up rejecting off at this level, and I think we got a beautiful 1 minute inversion on this next candle, which I was really debating on taking discretionary wise, but overall we did have a 5 minute right here, and we were also currently in a 2 minute as well at the time, yet to close through it, so I decided to just leave out on this and wait for more confirmation, which is when we end up going into the 5 minute here, and then we end up getting this. So what this is a 4 minute gap, and at this time this was also aligned with the low volume profile node, wherever it is. Cool, it was right here. So we had like a nice kind of low volume here, so I was liking this a lot. And we also had a double SMT. So we had an SMT with this external range, or this internal range high here, and then the S&P 500 went up and reswept this high that I had, which was, where was this? Hold on, right here. As you can see, we have a double SMT, and we're also actively delivering out of a 30-minute gap, which is also a strong key level. We had a resweep, so a stop point inside of this 4 minute gap, and then we had this 1 minute CISD here. Now, at this point, I ended up pressing longs. Yeah, longs. I ended up accidentally pressing buy here instead of sell, and I didn't even realize it until I noticed I was in profit when price went up. So I had to close that position really quickly, and then I ended up getting my second entry for this trade. I think it was just right here. Yeah, right here on this 1 minute candle, which is when I was aiming for this entire range low. Break even would have been at this internal low right here, and then this is when I ended up getting entered in on my actual position for today. With this, we end up delivering lower here. We end up going to my break even, and then we end up wicking me out at break even, like to the tick, and then instantly displacing towards take profit. So nothing really you can do there. Kind of just an unfortunate break even. But there is something I did learn from this. And looking at this trade, like overall, going break even here was kind of just a robot move by me. And what I mean by that is, like, if I actually stopped for a second and looked at what we were doing, price really had no reason to return to my stop loss here. So going break even here was low key kind of invalid. If anything, break even would have been fine when we had this kind of at 10:05. And when we displaced lower here, then we had literally no reason to retrace up to my entry point, never mind my stop loss, and then that would have been a good break even. But I ended up getting a pretty unfortunate break even here, especially with the things that happened prior. When my original entry was like here, I actually wouldn't have even gotten break even if I didn't accidentally press buy instead of sell. But either way, there's nothing you can do about that. Is what it is. When the narrative was so bearish and so clean like this, and everything was screaming bearish, I kind of do understand now that I probably shouldn't have went break even where I did. And that would have been a very easy win, obvious win in my opinion. And yeah, the second trade I ended up taking was kind of late into the session. I just seen it and I decided in the moment it was worth a shot, which is when we had this right here, I believe it was. Yeah, so we ended up retracing here, accumulating a lot. Even though both pairs already did take out previous week low, at this point I was still liking the structure we were generating. And then we came into the fair value gap at around 1030. We had a 1030 PO3 higher. And we generated more liquidity lower towards this DOL. And then we got this really nice displacing candle. I think it was right here. I think it was a 2-minute inverse. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was a 2-minute inverse. Wait, what was it again? Was it a 2-minute? Yeah, 2-minute inverse right here. I ended up entering shorts here, and then I ended up also getting break even on this trade as well. Just aiming for a 1-to-1 here. Break even was at the internal low, but the S&P 500 ended up taking out the internal low here, and then I ended up getting break even on this trade before it ran to take profit, which saved me from an unnecessary loss. So yeah, 2 trades today, 2 break evens. I really love this first trade, especially with the low volume profile node backing the narrative. 30-minute double SMT, clear DOL, good structure, A plus. This 4-minute continuation short was 100% A plus in my opinion. Only problems, or a bit sketchy problems with it, is that it was right after 10 a.m. and also it was a 4-minute gap instead of being like a 5-minute. But overall in this case, I really didn't think that was an issue whatsoever, and I think this trade was extremely clean, and I would take this trade 10 times out of 10 over and over again. Just got super unlucky with the first entry that I accidentally pressed buy, and then by the time I realized and closed my position and re-entered again right here, I ended up getting break even by the tick, and then price ran to my full TP. What can you do though? What can you do? And honestly, that's going to be it for today's trade recap. And everything else after this was really just like, I don't know what you'd be really taking after this. We kind of just pumped higher after taking a previous week low, and then we can from here presume the push back up to all-time highs, especially with the rejection off of the weekly PDRA. And we can probably see prices going higher now for the rest of the week. So yeah, cool. That's going to be it for today's trade recap. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you guys want to talk to me personally, my Instagram, TikTok, and Discord will be in the bio of this video, so you guys can go check them out, give me a follow or add me, and shoot me a DM, and I'll 100% respond to anyone's DMs that has anything got to do with trading related. If you guys ended up taking a trade today, leave that in the comments below. Always interested to see what you guys took, if it was a break-even, loss, or win. And if you learned anything today, also let me know in the comments below. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's trade recap, guys. I will catch you in the next one, which will be tomorrow. So except for that, have a blessed rest of your day, and I hope you have a great evening. Peace.